Captain Rylan Ward adjusted the straps of his armor as he stepped off the shuttle onto the scorched surface of the alien colony. Smoke curled from the remains of buildings, and the faint cries of displaced creatures echoed in the distance. The sky was a dull purple, streaked with the orange haze of fires long burned out. He had faced many battles across the galaxy, but the sight of a ruined home still tugged at his heart. From the corner of the landing zone, a group of aliens emerged cautiously. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes glimmered with fear and exhaustion. Among them were two young girls, no older than 16 or 17 by human standards. One clutched a small bundle of belongings, her gaze darting between the rubble and Rylan. The other, slightly taller, stood stiffly, as though bracing herself for what might come. The elder who led the group stepped forward, his voice trembling but firm. "Captain Ward," he began, "we have no one left. These two girls are all we could save from the raiders. We ask that you take them under your protection." Rylan studied them quietly. He could see the fear in their eyes, but also sparks of resilience. "I don't own anyone," he said finally. "If they come with me, it will be because they want to, not because you give them away. They will be free." The elder nodded, relief flooding his features. "We understand, human. They have nowhere else to go. We trust you to keep them safe." The two girls stepped forward hesitantly at first. The one clutching the bundle introduced herself as Lyra, her voice soft but steady. I do not want to go back," she admitted. "I want to live." The taller girl, Sana, crossed her arms, her eyes wary. "I don't trust easily," she said, "but if you say we are safe, I will follow." Rylan gave them a small nod. "Good. Stay close to me. Trust must be earned, but I promise you this. I will not let anyone hurt you again." As the group prepared to leave the colony, a sudden sound tore through the air, the roar of engines and the clash of metal on metal. Raiders had returned. Rylan's hand immediately went to his blaster, his body moving before his mind fully processed the danger. The elders' group froze in panic, but the two girls did not. Lyra instinctively scanned the area, pointing out weak spots in the raider formation, while Sana drew on instincts she didn't know she had, ducking behind a wall and nudging the elder to safety. Rylan fought with precision, each movement calculated. Blasts of energy sizzled past him, some too close for comfort, but he never faltered. Lyra, following his lead, used her small tools to jam the raiders' communication devices. Sana, with surprising agility, knocked out two scouts before they could raise an alarm. Within minutes, the raiders realized their advantage was gone. Rylan's calm authority, combined with the girls' unexpected bravery, forced them to retreat. After the last raider fled, Rylan exhaled slowly. The girls stared at him, wide-eyed. "You didn't have to fight alone," Lyra said softly. "I never fight alone," Rylan replied. "If you want to survive in this galaxy, you need to learn to stand beside others." They returned to the shuttle. The elder's eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Captain Ward. You have saved them." Lyra settled into a corner, clutching her bundle, her body trembling from adrenaline and relief. Sana leaned against the wall, arms crossed, her jaw tight as she tried to mask her fear. Rylan watched them, realizing that earning their trust would take more than words. It would take time, patience, and shared experiences. The journey through space was quiet at first. Lyra broke the silence. Do you really think we can be safe?" she asked. Her voice was tentative, almost fragile. "You will be," Rylan said firmly, "but safety doesn't mean nothing will ever be dangerous again. It means you learn to face it and survive. That is what makes humans strong, and that is what I will teach you." Sana glanced at him, skepticism clear in her gaze. "And if I don't want to follow your way?" Then you decide your own path, Ryland said. You are not property. You are free. I only offer protection. And lessons if you choose to learn. Days passed aboard the ship. Ryland taught Lyra to handle navigation tools, showing her how to chart courses across star systems and read complex data streams. Lyra's mind absorbed it quickly, and her small hands worked with surprising skill. Sana, meanwhile, shadowed Ryland during combat drills. Though she was untrained, her instincts and speed made her a natural at anticipating moves. By the end of the week, both girls had begun to feel the first stirrings of confidence. One evening, the ship's sensors picked up an unusual energy spike. Ryland frowned, bringing up the readings. "Raiders," he muttered. "They might have traced us." Panic flickered in the girl's eyes, but Ryland remained calm. "We prepare," he said. "We do not run blindly, and we do not panic. You will see how we handle threats." When the raiders arrived, their ships surrounding Ryland's in a tight formation, the girls were ready. Lyra calculated a safe, evasive pattern for the ship, while Sana helped Ryland identify weak points in the raider attack strategy. The human warrior led with courage, but the girls' contributions proved vital. Together, they maneuvered the ship, evading heavy fire and striking back with precision. By the time the raiders realized their attack was failing, Ryland and the girls had not only defended themselves, but captured a small raider craft attempting to board them. Lyra carefully disarmed the ship's weapons systems, while Sana ensured no one escaped to signal reinforcements. After the fight, the girls stood beside Ryland, breathing heavily but smiling in disbelief. "We did it," Lyra whispered. "We actually did it." Ryland clapped Sana on the shoulder. "You both did well. Fear is natural, but courage is a choice. Today, you chose it." In the quiet aftermath, as the ship continued its journey to a distant, safe star system, the girls began to understand what freedom truly meant. They were no longer defined by what others had tried to force upon them. They were learning, growing, and becoming capable beings in their own right. For the first time since the raid destroyed their colony, Lyra and Sana felt something they had not dared to feel in years: hope. And beside them stood a human warrior who did not see them as weak or as property, but as individuals with potential and strength. Ryland watched them from the bridge, a faint smile on his face. The galaxy was dangerous, and there would be more battles ahead. But with the girls learning to stand beside him, he realized that together they could face whatever threats came their way. As the stars stretched out before them, Lyra turned to Sana. Maybe this is a new beginning," she said quietly. Sana nodded slowly. "If we survive, it is because he showed us we can, and because we chose to fight." Ryland overheard the conversation and simply said, "Exactly. Always remember, survival is not about being stronger than others. It's about finding strength in yourself and in those you trust." And with that, the three of them looked out at the stars, ready for whatever the galaxy might throw their way. Together, they were no longer victims of circumstance. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the adventure of their new lives had only just begun. The ship glided silently through the void of space, stars streaming past like silver threads. Ryland sat in the command chair, his eyes scanning the navigation systems. Lyra hovered nearby, her fingers tracing the holographic star charts as if memorizing every route. Sana leaned against the wall, her gaze fixed on the viewport, watching the infinite darkness. "Do you ever get used to this?" Lyra asked quietly, her voice barely audible over the hum of the engines. Ryland smiled faintly. "You never really get used to the emptiness," he said. "But you learn to respect it. The galaxy is full of surprises, some good, some dangerous. We just have to be ready." Sana shifted and raised an eyebrow. "We've faced raiders before." Are you saying there's more trouble out there? Always, Rylan replied. Trouble is what makes survival interesting. The girls shared a small laugh, tension easing between them. Weeks aboard the ship had brought them closer, and trust was no longer just an idea. It was a bond forged in shared danger and mutual learning. Lyra had become skilled at plotting courses and reading sensors, while Sana had mastered basic defense drills and learned to anticipate attacks. They were no longer the frightened captives who had clung to each other in a ruined colony. They were allies. One morning, a signal blinked on the ship's console. Rylan leaned forward, adjusting the scanner. The message was weak, scrambled by interference, but he could make out a distress call. It came from a small civilian transport stranded near a mining asteroid field. "Looks like someone needs help," Rylan said, eyes narrowing. "Lyra, plot a course. Sana, prepare for a boarding or rescue operation." Both girls moved quickly. Lyra's fingers danced across the holographic controls, adjusting the ship's trajectory with precision. Sana checked weapons and shields, her mind already running through possible scenarios. As they approached the asteroid field, the transport came into view. Its hull was battered, and small fires flickered along its surface. Inside, they could see passengers huddled together, fear etched on their faces. Rylan contacted the transport. "This is Captain Rylan Ward. You are not alone. Prepare for extraction." The transport shuddered violently as an asteroid grazed its hull. We don't know if we can make it," a panicked voice replied. Rylan gritted his teeth. "We'll make it. Just follow our lead." Navigating the narrow spaces between massive asteroids was risky, but Lyra's calculations were precise. Each movement of the ship was deliberate, each turn measured. Sana coordinated with Rylan to repel small pirate drones that emerged from the shadows, likely scavengers attracted by the transport's distress signal. Together, they fought, dodged, and maneuvered, creating a path for the civilians to follow. Finally, the transport docked with their ship. Passengers rushed aboard, gratitude shining in their eyes. Among them were several families and a young boy who stared at Lyra and Sana with wide, admiring eyes. "Did you fight those pirates?" he asked. Sana knelt to his level. "We all helped," she said simply. "But you were brave too, staying calm. That matters." Rylan watched the interaction, pride welling in his chest. The girls had grown, not just in skill, but in confidence and compassion. He knew that their journey had only just begun, but already they were making a difference in the galaxy. The rescued civilians needed a safe destination, and Rylan decided to take them to a neutral space station several jumps away. The station, a hub for trade and diplomacy, would provide them refuge and resources. During the voyage, Lyra continued to study navigation, absorbing knowledge at an astonishing rate. Sana trained the civilians in basic self-defense and situational awareness, teaching them to move and think strategically, even under stress. One night, as the ship coasted through the void, Lyra approached Rylan. "Captain, I've been thinking," she said. "I want to learn more than just navigation. I want to help people like we did today. Maybe even help fight if it comes to that." Rylan looked at her, noting the determination in her eyes. "You can," he said. "But fighting is not just about strength. It's about strategy, judgment, and knowing when to act. If you want to fight, you must train your mind first." Sana, overhearing the conversation, joined them. "Then we'll train together," she said. "We're not just going to follow you, Captain. We'll stand beside you." Rylan felt a surge of admiration. The two girls, once terrified and powerless, were now eager to take control of their destinies. "Good," he said. "We stand together. Always." As the ship neared the space station, a new signal appeared on the sensors, a massive fleet of raiders, clearly targeting them. The size and coordination of the fleet suggested a well-organized attack. Lyra's hands flew over the controls, calculating evasive maneuvers. Sana readied the ship's defenses, her mind anticipating every potential strike. Ryland's eyes narrowed. "They want a fight," he muttered. The battle began before they could reach the station. Raiders swarmed from multiple directions, their ships firing in unison. Ryland took the lead, piloting with precision, but the girls were no longer passengers. They were active participants. Lyra adjusted the ship's shields and plotted counterattacks, while Sana coordinated drone defenses and reinforced critical points. Through a combination of human ingenuity and alien adaptability, they turned the tide. Lyra's calculations allowed them to use the asteroid field as a natural barrier, and Sana's quick thinking disabled several raider ships before they could fire. Ryland engaged the leader's ship directly, using strategy and brute force to force a surrender. When the battle was over, the raider fleet retreated, and the survivors aboard the transport and Ryland's ship cheered. For the first time, Lyra and Sana fully understood the meaning of strength, courage, and teamwork. They had not just survived, they had protected others, earned respect, and made a lasting impact. At the space station, Ryland debriefed the rescued civilians and handed them off to the authorities. Lyra and Sana explored the station, marveling at its bustling markets, technology, and the diversity of beings from across the galaxy. For the first time, they felt like they belonged somewhere, a place where they could grow without fear. Ryland stood beside them, watching the two girls move with confidence. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. "The galaxy is full of danger, but also full of opportunity. You have the choice to define who you are." Lyra smiled, her eyes shining. "Then we'll choose to be strong, Captain, and we'll choose to help others, just like you taught us." Sana nodded in agreement. "We're not afraid anymore. We know what it means to survive, and we know how to protect what matters." Ryland placed a hand on each of their shoulders. "Then let's keep moving forward. There are countless worlds to see, challenges to face, and lives to protect. Together, nothing can stop us." As they prepared to leave the station, the three of them looked out at the stars stretching endlessly before them. In that moment, they were no longer a warrior with two rescued captives. They were a team, a family forged by survival, courage, and mutual respect. Their journey through the galaxy had only begun, but one thing was certain. Wherever the path led, they would face it together, stronger, braver, and unbroken. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but for the first time in their lives, Lyra and Sana felt truly free. And with a human warrior by their side who believed in their potential, they knew they could face anything, because the greatest strength in the universe was not power or technology, but courage, trust, and the bond between those who choose to fight together.